Here are the directions for our Chapter 1 project. In this project, you get to combine your mathematical knowledge with your artistic creativity. First, you'll need the handout. There's a copy of my Moodle page if you don't have one, so make sure you're looking at that. But basically, you're going to use Desmos to draw a picture of a face using equations. On the screen here, you can see some examples that students of mine have done in the past. Feel free to, make a character that you've seen before, or you can just make it a generic face, but you will be basically making a picture of a face. Here's some other ones that students have done if you're looking for some more ideas. You can also search on Desmos and you'll find more ideas, but just make sure the work you're turning in is your own and not anyone else's. So first thing you're going to want to do is go to desmos.com/calculator. Once you're here, you're going to want to create an account. If you don't have one yet, you can sign in with Google. I already have an account, so I'll just log in real quick. So basically, to make the graph, you're going to type your equation here. Maybe I'll just start with y equals 2x. Maybe this is a line that I want on my face. Maybe I want to translate this down 4 units, so it's down there. So there's my line. But maybe I don't want all of this line. Maybe I want part of it. Well, in Desmos, you can add restrictions by typing a restriction in fancy brackets. So maybe I just want this line between 0 and 3. Maybe I just want that much of the line. So there's my restriction. And that's how you get just the parts of the graph that you want. Basically, you're going to make a bunch of equations that turn into a picture of a face. After you've done some work, make sure you hit the save button. If you don't hit the save button, you will lose all your progress and have to start over. So you should probably rename it something that you'll remember. Face graph. And then save. In the future, to get back to any work you've done, you can log in and then click this button over here, and you can see any graphs that you have saved in the past that you can open. So there's my face graph, and I can open that. So that's how you get to your saved work. If you look at the handout, you will see some of the things you need to conclude in your graph. You can see here it says your face must use at least 10 graphs, and you must use at least 5 of the following parent functions that we've studied in this chapter. So one of the parent functions would be horizontal or vertical lines. Another parent function, the one that I just used on my face here, would classify as a line that is not horizontal or vertical. The other parent functions that we're going to try to include are absolute value, parabola, cubic, square root, and cube root. So before you start playing around, be thinking about how you might use some of these parent functions to make a face. For example, I might want to do a parabola. So, and there's a little keypad button here if you need some special characters, like there's how I can type a squared pretty easily. But I'm going to flip this parabola, and I'm going to translate it up or something like that, because this is going to be the top of this person's head. Maybe I want to stretch or shrink it a bit, so I will make it a little wider or even a little wider still. Might bring it down a little bit. So you can play around with these numbers until you get it to the place that you maybe want it. And then maybe I would just want this part of his head from there to there. So I might restrict this to 2.746. So I'm going to add another restriction from negative 2.746 is less than x is less than positive 2.746. And you can see that maybe that's the top of my person's head, and I've just used a quadratic or a parabola, and so I can cross that off. Make sure you use at least 5 of these parent functions in your graph, and make sure you have at least 10 graphs. Couple other things that I wanted to show you is you can change the color of these graphs as well. You can click and hold on that, and you'll get some options here. So maybe I want to make both of them red. Another way to get to those options is to click this little edit button, and then you can just click on those and you have the same color options. Then you can click done when you're done. Another thing you might want to do is you might want to add shading to your graph. A way to add shading is to use inequalities instead of equal signs. So right here, I can type y is less than, and it will shade everything below that line. If I want that to be a solid line, I need to make it less than or equals, which I can get from this keypad. The restrictions, though, do make it a little more difficult because you can see it's shading everything below that. So I could add another restriction and to cut it off somewhere so it doesn't shade everything. Yeah. And then if there are other parent functions you want to use besides these, like if you want to use circles, you're welcome to. You can just use the internet to search for any parent function you'd like to use, but those do not count towards the 5 you need to use here from this list. You need to make sure you have at least 5 of these from this list. When you are done with your face, make sure you save it, and then you can click this button right here, which says Share Graph, and then you can copy this link and then put it in an email and send it to me. If you get stuck or need help with anything, please reach out to find me, ask me questions, or right in Desmos there's a help button right here. You can watch tutorials to help you with restrictions or lots of other stuff. So give that a look if you get stuck. These will be due in 1 week, next Tuesday, November 7th. They are graded worth 20 points. They are achievement points. 15 points will be based on you having the required number of graphs and types of graphs, and then the other 5 points will be based on your creativity, inventiveness, and whether or not it looks like a face. So make sure you have yours done by next Tuesday, November 7th, and please let me know if you have any questions.